Hi there, this is Craig Beck, the Stop Drinking expert. Today I want to talk about empty nest syndrome and how it drives people to problem drink. Because this is a real problem and it's a lot more common than people think. Before we go any further, I'll remind you my Quit Drinking Bootcamp is coming to Toronto, Canada in about a week's time. Then we're Sydney, Australia. Then we're London, England. And it's not on the website yet, but Chicago is coming up next. So keep an eye on the website if you want to come, stopdrinkingexpert.com. And from London onwards, Quit Drinking Bootcamp becomes a 2-day event. First day, we deal with how you stop drinking. The second day, we deal with what the underlying cause for your drinking was in the first place. And that kind of brings us back to the topic of today, empty nest syndrome. Because one thing I've noticed from traveling around the world and meeting people who have developed a problem with their alcohol use is there are a lot of people out there trying to cover up the emotional pain of empty nest syndrome with alcohol. So what is empty nest syndrome? Well, basically it is the situation that happens when you spend a couple of decades looking after your children, caring about them, being mom or dad. That is your number one duty in the world. It kind of envelops your whole life. And then all of a sudden, one day, as is perfectly natural, your children are no longer children anymore and they decide to leave home. And for some people, that means that the children move across the street or across the town. But for a lot of people, especially in the States, it can mean that their children move thousands of miles away from them. And in fact, I did a coaching session about a month ago with a lady. She has 3 children. All of them live at least 1,000 miles away now. And that means all of her grandchildren live at least 1,000 miles away. And she was in a terrible place. She was in a lot of pain. She was very sad, very depressed, very lonely, and despondent. Just didn't see what her purpose was anymore. Couldn't see a path ahead. And this is very common. It doesn't get a lot of attention in the media, and it is not even considered a medical problem. There is no kind of formal diagnosis of, oh, you've got empty nest syndrome. But trust me on this, the pain is real and very deep and very profound. It can almost create an existential vacuum because people become parents, and it's always a shock. You're never prepared for it. Even if you set out to be the best parent in the world, it's always tougher than you ever imagined. But we're adaptable as a species and we want to do the best by our children, and so we work at it, we work at it, and we try our very best. And to be the best mom or the best dad these days, with all the pressure of social media and TV and the Hollywood movies that says you have to be your kid's best friend and you have to be a great mentor and you have to be an inspirational leader. There's huge pressure on our shoulders to get this right, yeah? So we try our best. And becoming mom, becoming dad becomes who we are as a person. Certainly from my own experience, when I became a father, my ex-wife and I at the time stopped being a couple. We stopped being husband and wife. We stopped being 2 passionate people who were in love with each other, and we became mother and father. 2 parents who lived in the same house. You know, the focus of everything became the children. And so for a lot of people, you can spend 2 decades of your life in this role. You know, constantly having someone who needs you, who wants something from you, having this powerful sense of duty, this sense of responsibility, guiding this new life into the world. And you can understand that when children leave home and they don't need you anymore, in fact, it's worse than that, when they actively push you away, when they listen to your advice and ignore it and do their own thing, because that is the independence that we actually want for our children. It hurts. It hurts a lot to feel that you're no longer needed. And for a lot of people, they think, well, you know, that was my whole life. That's what I loved. And now I'm too old to have more children. What do I do for the rest of my life? And it's actually even worse than that because the whole dynamic of the house changes. You know, you've got 2 people who have spent 2 decades living in a really noisy, bubbly, energetic house. Now, that's not always positive, because if you think back, if you had kids who lived at home with you, that meant loud music pounding from one room. It meant too much noise in the middle of the night. It meant never being able to put something down and it be there in the same place. There always being mess. There always being chaos and people in the house. And at the time, you may have thought, oh, I'm sick of this. I can't wait till they leave home. And then when they do, a lot of people are shocked by how loud the silence is that is left behind. They find themselves sitting in this big home, this big family home, and being deafened by the lack of noise coming from the bedrooms upstairs. The lack of clutter. The fact that things stay tidy. And it sounds like it should be a good thing, but actually people find that it's quite uncomfortable. You would think that this is something that women deal with, because that's kind of how it's portrayed. But actually, research has shown it is particularly bad for dads. In fact, some very recent research has shown that women actually cope better with this than guys do. And the reason for this is that generally women, the mothers, have had a very active relationship with their children. They've been through all those precious moments with them. They've guided them and loved them and cared for them and helped them. Whereas dads were probably preoccupied with other things, earning a living and doing their stuff and doing dad things. And as guys, because guys mature slower than women, as guys get older and we slow down and we stop trying to conquer the world and we start to accept our own mortality and see that we're just a guy and we're not a superhero, we're not Zeus. Then we start to reflect on our lives. And we look and we think about all the missed opportunities and all the times that we could have spent quality time with our children that we chose to be with the guys, or we chose to be at work. And guys, fathers can feel immense guilt and regret about that. And it hits home particularly hard when the kids leave home. So that's empty nest syndrome. It's very powerful, it's very profound, and I have looked into the eyes of dozens and dozens of people who are suffering with it, and I see real torment. And it's easy to see how with that sort of emotional pain, no formal medical diagnosis available, so you can't go to the doctor and say, give me a tablet to help me with my empty nest syndrome. It's easy to see why people start looking for a solution. They start looking for a sedative that will take the pain away, and they find alcohol. And the evil clown sees, yes, he says, I can help you with this. But as I keep saying, using alcohol to deal with your problems in life is like using a loan shark to deal with your debt. Initially, it kind of helps. But is it not true that on the back end you get infinitely more problems than you started with? And that is alcohol personified. Yes, it will appear to help you initially. It will slow down your brain, it will make you less aware of your feelings, and it will put you into a zombified state so you don't have to be acutely aware of the silence. And you'll get away with that for a couple of months, a couple of years maybe, before you start to see serious problems appearing in your life. So, how do you deal with this? And day 2 of boot camp is all about this now. It's about finding the problem at the root cause of your drinking, because often problem drinking is just a symptom of a deeper problem. Not many people are just drinking for the sake of it. Most people who come to my boot camps or do my online course are drinking to get away from something, to get away from some form of emotional pain. That may be boredom or loneliness or being in an unhappy relationship or the general kind of discomfort and disquiet with life, or it could be empty nest syndrome. And what I say to anyone I meet who says, but my children have left home, I've lost my purpose, is I say, look, you've been given a huge gift. You have something that not everybody has. You have this inbuilt capacity to love, nurture, and care for other human beings. That's what makes you happy. That's why you're here. If you could get out of bed every morning and be a mom or a dad and love and care and nurture and guide another human being, then maybe that's why you're here. And so when your kids leave home, you have to replace that outlet. Because if you don't, you're going to sit there and you're going to feel this emptiness inside you. And it is called an existential vacuum. And it's a sign, it's a clear signal that you are not doing what you are here to do. Now, a lot of people have this feeling, this kind of sensation that there must be more to life than this. Why am I here? What's the point of it all? This ache inside. If you have that feeling, it is a sign that you're on the wrong path. You're not following your purpose. Now, for people with empty nest syndrome, if you let the kids leave and you don't replace it with something productive, you're going to feel that for the rest of your life. And you can throw things into it. You can buy more stuff. You can buy a bigger TV, you can buy a bigger car, you can go on expensive vacations, you can drink alcohol, but it's like throwing matchsticks into a volcano. It'll keep you busy, but you'll never make the pain go away unless you do what that pain is trying to motivate you to do. And so if you have empty nest syndrome, you've got to take all those qualities, all that value that you have inside that you previously lavished on your children and direct it somewhere else. Because you have a gift. And if you're not using it, you are squandering your existence. It's as big as that. Now, the good news is there are millions of people and animals that need some love in this world, crying out for it, desperate for it. There are so many people struggling in desperate situations, alone and lost, and they just need someone to tell them they mean something. They just need somebody to know they exist, somebody to care about them. And so I encourage you to go find an outlet for all this love, compassion, nurturing, and caring that you have inside you. This came up at boot camp in Nashville. A lady said exactly the same thing. So we did a one-to-one session on the stage. And I said, okay, well, let's find you a new purpose. She said, but I don't know what my purpose is. She said, I've thought about it long and hard, but I can't find it. I said, okay. I said, tell me, what could you wake up and do every day for the rest of your life for no money and absolutely love it? She said, well, that's easy. I'd look after animals. I said, okay. I said, so is there a possibility that there is an animal charity in your town that maybe needs a volunteer? She said, yeah, there is. She said, actually, there's a greyhound rescue facility in my town, and that's my big thing. I love greyhounds. I went, okay. How would you feel about working for free at the greyhound rescue facility every day, looking after sick and injured animals and finding them homes and caring for them? She said, my God, that would be awesome. I said, why haven't you done it? She said, I didn't think about that. So find an outlet, find something to do with this gift that you've got. Because if you leave a vacuum, alcohol will try and fill it. The evil clown will pop up in your head and he'll say, hey, you don't need to feel like this. I can make it go away. And everything that guy says to you is a lie. So I encourage you to find your purpose, find your outlet, pursue it, and start building the second stage of your life. You need to stop looking at, you've lost your children. You've lost that moment. That was just a learning curve to bring you to this point. What you're going to do from this point forward is going to be even better. That is the outlook that I encourage you to have. If you need help to achieve that, do the online course with me or come to boot camp. Why not join me for a free Quit Drinking webinar today? Go to the website stopdrinkingexpert.com and sign up. I'll even give you a copy of my book, Alcohol Lied to Me, absolutely free. If not, just like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay in touch. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next episode.
Worried about your drinking? Why not join us for a free Quit Drinking webinar? www.stopdrinkingexpert.com